Most people believe they are building their future when they start their first job after finishing school or university. It feels like the beginning of independence, the moment when adulthood finally becomes real and life starts moving forward. Your first paycheck feels powerful, almost symbolic of entering the real world. For the first time, you realize that your time can be exchanged for money and that money can shape the direction of your life. At the beginning, work feels temporary and flexible, like something you're doing while figuring out your long-term path. You tell yourself this is only the first step, and that much bigger opportunities are waiting somewhere ahead. The routine begins forming slowly, almost invisibly, as your days start to follow a predictable pattern. You wake up early, go to work, return home tired, and prepare to repeat the same cycle the following morning. At first, this routine doesn't seem negative at all because it gives your life structure and direction. In fact, many people find comfort in this rhythm because it makes the future feel stable and predictable. Your income begins improving your life in ways that feel completely reasonable and well-deserved. You move into a better apartment, upgrade your furniture, and start enjoying the small comforts that money can provide. None of these decisions feel dangerous or irresponsible in the moment. Each upgrade simply feels like a natural reward for working hard and progressing in your career. But every improvement quietly introduces a new monthly obligation that didn't exist before. Rent, utilities, subscriptions, insurance, and payments slowly start forming a financial structure around your life. At first, that structure feels manageable and even motivating because it pushes you to keep working. The responsibility makes you feel like you are building something meaningful and stable. Your employer notices your effort and rewards you with raises or promotions over time. With every increase in income, your confidence grows and the future begins to look even more promising. You begin believing that everything is unfolding exactly the way success is supposed to work. Work harder, earn more, improve your lifestyle, and slowly climb toward financial security. But something subtle begins happening quietly in the background of your life. As your income grows, your lifestyle begins expanding at the same pace. A slightly nicer apartment eventually turns into a long-term mortgage commitment. A reliable car becomes a multi-year car payment that now appears every single month. Comfort slowly reshapes your expectations about daily life without you realizing it. What once felt like luxury now starts feeling completely normal and necessary. Soon your monthly expenses look very different from when you first started working. The numbers become larger and the structure becomes more complex than you ever expected. Your paycheck arrives each month and quickly begins disappearing into different obligations. Mortgage, insurance, utilities, subscriptions, groceries, and taxes all take their share. By the time you really notice it, most of your income is already assigned before it even reaches your account. The paycheck that once felt powerful now feels scheduled and pre-committed. Instead of creating freedom, your income is now maintaining a financial system around your life, a system that quietly depends on your ability to keep working every single month. For the first time, you begin to recognize something slightly uncomfortable about this structure. Your job is no longer just a job you can leave whenever you want. Your job has quietly become the foundation supporting everything else in your life. Without it, the entire structure you built would immediately begin to shake. At some point, a strange thought quietly appears in the back of your mind. You begin wondering what would actually happen if you suddenly stopped working tomorrow. For a moment, the idea feels exciting, almost like imagining freedom. But that feeling quickly fades and is replaced by something much heavier. Instead of excitement, you feel a sudden wave of anxiety, because quitting no longer feels like a choice. It feels like a threat. Your house depends on your income to exist. Your car depends on your income to remain yours. Your entire lifestyle now depends on the continuation of your salary. Without it, the structure you built begins to look extremely fragile. This realization arrives slowly, but once it appears, you cannot easily ignore it. The system you created now requires your participation to survive. In other words, the life you built now depends on your ability to keep trading time for income. Every month becomes another reminder that the machine must keep running. Many people describe this moment as the first time they feel financially stuck, not because they are poor, but because they suddenly realize how little flexibility they actually have. Most people believe they spend money on things they want or need, but the truth behind spending is much deeper and far more uncomfortable. You are not really paying for things with money. You are paying for them with hours of your life. Every dollar you earn represents a small piece of time that you traded away. Hours slowly convert into money, and money slowly converts into the objects around you. That means every expensive purchase carries an invisible price tag attached to it. A price measured not in dollars, but in years of your future. A new car might cost $30,000 on paper, but in reality it represents hundreds of hours of your life spent working. A house might cost hundreds of thousands of dollars over time, but what it really costs is decades of future effort. When you begin seeing money this way, your perspective shifts dramatically. Suddenly, every purchase becomes a decision about how you spend your time. And time is the one resource that can never be replaced once it is gone. Every hour spent working is an hour that will never return. The typical career lasts around 40 years for most people, from your early 20s until somewhere in your mid-60s. Over the course of those decades, you will work more than 90,000 hours. Hours that quietly shape the direction of your entire life. Most people never stop to really think about this number. It simply becomes the expected path that everyone follows. School prepares you for it long before you understand what it means. Society then reinforces it as the normal way life should unfold. Banks design financial products around this expectation. Mortgages, loans, and payment plans all assume the same thing. They assume you will continue working steadily for decades, because without that assumption, the entire financial structure would collapse. When you step back and look at the full picture, something begins to feel different. A 40-year career begins to resemble a long contract, a contract that exchanges time for income every single week, and income for the ability to maintain your lifestyle. This is what many people eventually recognize as the hidden structure of modern work, a system built on long-term financial dependence. The real problem was never work itself. The real problem is needing to work in order to survive. When your entire life depends on one income source, flexibility disappears quickly. Every decision becomes tied to financial survival. You cannot easily walk away from situations that no longer make you happy. You cannot easily take risks that might improve your future. Even if you dislike your job, the system keeps you inside it, because leaving would mean dismantling the entire structure supporting your life. But there is an important shift that changes everything. The shift from income to ownership. Income requires your constant effort in order to exist. Ownership creates systems that continue producing value over time. When you begin building assets, your financial structure slowly changes shape. Instead of relying on one pillar, new pillars begin appearing. A small investment might seem insignificant at first, but time allows that investment to grow quietly in the background. Businesses generate revenue without requiring every hour of your day. Investments generate returns even while you sleep. Equity grows slowly but steadily over long periods of time. Each asset becomes another layer of support beneath your life. The more layers you build, the less pressure any single source of income carries. Dependency begins fading one piece at a time. Eventually, your salary is no longer the only thing holding everything together. Your financial structure becomes stronger and more balanced. This is the moment when something powerful begins to happen. Options start appearing where none existed before. Options create the ability to say no when something feels wrong. Options allow you to walk away from situations that drain your energy. The freedom to say no changes your relationship with work entirely. Work becomes something you choose rather than something you must endure. The goal was never to eliminate work from life completely. The real goal was to eliminate dependence. Dependence is what turns work into a prison. Independence is what transforms work into an opportunity. When you control your time, everything about life begins to feel different. Decisions become calmer and far more intentional. Risk becomes something you can evaluate rather than something you must fear. Opportunity becomes visible where it once seemed impossible. And slowly the entire structure of your life changes direction. You are no longer trapped inside the system. Instead, you begin observing the system from the outside. That shift in perspective changes everything. Because now your future is not defined by one paycheck. It is supported by a structure you intentionally built. Assets replace dependence one step at a time. Leverage replaces pressure. The 40-year prison begins losing its power over your life because you finally understand the rules behind the system. And once you understand those rules, everything changes. Because the real goal was never earning more money, it was owning your time.